what's going on, guys?
Good
What's
morning.
up? Happy Monday.
Yeah, I had to sit there and think, what the hell did I do this weekend? And then remembered that we had a marketing campaign that we're gearing up for this week, and I had to run across town making a whole bunch of really cool photos and pictures for a fun thing we're doing tomorrow. So more about that on tomorrow. But there's Elizabeth's gluten intolerant. She's not like celiac, but she can get pretty fucked up getting wheat and stuff. We found this app called Find Me Gluten Free. And it's a really, really cool app that'll show you all the gluten-free restaurants around. So we hadn't done a whole lot of the places that it brought up in Fort Worth. So we went to this place, and I'm not thinking about anything. I'm like, we'll just go, show up, we'll, grab breakfast. Knew I was in trouble when I realized that we were in West 7th, which is a popular area in Fort Worth, and there was a line wrapped around the corner of this place. But we toughed it out. We stayed in line. We waited like 40 minutes to get in, and holy shit, was it worth it? And so a lot of it was gluten-free. We got a flight of pancakes. So it was like a cinnamon roll pancake, strawberry pancakes, chocolate chip pancakes. We were drinking Bellinis, mimosas, sangrias, candied bacon that was done in like this syrup sriracha. Dude, she had shrimp and grits that were off the charts. I had this omelet that was filled with so much protein. I don't know how I ate the whole damn thing. So think of like a meat lover's pizza on steroids. Absolutely worth the wait. And we noticed as we were sitting down is people were able to come in and be like, immediately go to a seat. So we asked the waitress, I'm like, how are they sitting so quick? They're like, oh yeah, everybody who knows checks in like 45 minutes before they get there. So and they get a text message to say when to arrive, and they'll take you straight to your table. I'm like, we're doing that next time.
Noted.
But it was awesome, man. Finding good gluten-free food is an absolute nightmare. It's really hard to do. What'd you guys do this weekend? Anything fun?
It was hot as hell here in Michigan. So
how hot is hot, Bernie?
That's what I was wondering.
High 90s, like 95, 96. It's been really, really hot.
We were playing the same game. We were definitely playing the same game.
And humid, because it's always humid, right?
Yeah. God. Like, I was asking myself, why the fuck do we still live in Texas? It was so damn miserable. God, it was miserable.
See, we start to ask ourselves that question in the dead of winter. We're like, what the fuck am I still doing here?
I believe that.
Yeah, the only state that has like really good year-round weather, I have no desire to live there because it's like California. And I have no desire to live there whatsoever.
It's too damn expensive.
Yeah. And their taxes are just insane. So no.
It's a beautiful state. Every time I go there, I'm amazed. It doesn't matter Southern, Northern Cali, but at the same time, I'm like, how the hell does anybody afford to live here?
As long as it's not on fire, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, and the earthquakes.
That's true.
And I really like my hotel stays to not have homeless people having sex in the front of the hotel. I mean, that would be nice. That happens. That would
you
be
might be asking too much there.
Maybe. Maybe.
We're getting ready. We're getting the RV ready to actually travel again. We've been stationary for just a little bit too long. So we're cleaning it up and making sure everything works like it should. And we're getting ready to travel this Friday. We're going to take off to Utah, or at least start the trip to Utah. It's going to be roughly an hour drive. And in this behemoth, I'm going to do that in 3 separate days. I'm not driving straight on through. Hell no. But Donnie, you were talking about apps. I found a new app recently called Crossroads. It's still in like the beta version, but it's a bunch of nomads that track where they're going and what they're going to be doing. And if you happen to pass by, if you're on the app, you're welcome to join in whatever. Sometimes it's like giant bonfire out in the middle of Joshua Tree, or sometimes it's everybody's hanging out and doing whatever over here. But as you make friends, you can track where their trip is going and where your trip is going, and anywhere y'all intersect, y'all can be like, oh, hey, we're going to be there for a night. Maybe we can catch up and hang
really
out.
Cool and really scary at the same
time. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm going to befriend somebody who's a serial killer, and he's like, hey, we're having a bonfire out in the middle of this field.
Come on
out.
Yeah. You gotta weigh your pros and cons. Me and Jen talked about it. I was like, this sounds cool. And she goes, that means we could be living right next to some creepy people for a night. I'm like, you know what? I didn't think about that. Yeah,
well,
you're right.
Peyton, like, everybody's a friend of Peyton. You know, he may
Yeah.
not be an outgoing guy, but that dude will befriend anybody if given its vicinity, right? Yeah, on that one, go with Jen's gut.
Okay. All right. I'll write that down. I'll write it down. Genevieve is correct. She'll never watch the podcast, but I said it live. Genevieve is correct.
So we'll run that on loop for her and just have it going. So
Okay.
all right, P, let's play a game.
And it. This one's one of Bernie's favorites. Fact or crap. I'm going to give you just a little blurb, and you're going to have to figure out if it's fact or crap.
Crap.
That's your guess off rip? Powdered water. Powdered water in a sealed package, when opened, absorbs moisture from the air and reformulates into H2O. Fact or crap?
I feel like that would be something that they created.
I mean, like I know you can add like electrolytes and make water better, but powdered water?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, have you ever seen a solar still, or where they'll take like the plastic trash bags and capture water from the air?
Yeah, the condensation, sure.
Right. So I'm wondering if it's something along those lines. I'm going fact.
I'm gonna go crap just to be.
I'm going fact.
Okay. Crap. Totally made up. No. When you dehydrate
that looks
something,
like a
fucking
pile of cocaine.
I know what it looks like. Well, if it's made up, there's not going to be an actual picture of it. That'd give you something to look at.
I mean, that reminds me of my 20s that I don't forget.
I got to change it before Donnie gets too excited. Is lightning hotter than the sun?
Ooh.
It's saying, okay, lightning is hotter than the sun. Fact or crap?
Still alive. Well, people have been hit by lightning are still alive. I'm just reading the second half of that. Is lightning hotter than the sun? Man.
At this point, you give it a
I'm
guess.
saying crap. My college roommate was struck by lightning. Now he was a little off.
I'm going to say fact because I feel like it could be in that millisecond actually hotter than the sun, and you could still survive.
I'm going opposite of Bernie and saying it's not. It's crap.
So it is actually hotter for that 1 millisecond.
2.
Wow.
Look, the sun is 10,000. Lightning can reach temperatures of up to 50,000.
I mean, how do you measure that? I mean, that's like such a freaking, millisecond of a movement to catch the temperature of that thing.
You see, we say we're nerds, but the real nerds are the ones that figured that out.
Truth to that.
The origin of lollipops. Lollipops were originally invented as a way to get picky children to take their medicine without realizing it.
Well, I know a spoonful of sugar is real.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going fact. I like it.
Yeah.
I gotta go fact too.
I'm going fact.
Leaning into it, and I caught you.
Damn.
No, I thought it was funny. It was just a dude that made hard candies, started putting them on a stick, and then he named them after his favorite racehorse, Lollipop. He's like, okay, interesting. Coca-Cola's color. In the early days, it had a greenish tint, possibly due to the ingredients. Small amount of cocaine.
This is absolutely fact.
I am sensing a theme here, Peyton.
Yeah, no, it's 100. Yeah, Coca-Cola originally did start out with cocaine. It's been proven several times over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
I'm going crap on the color. The cocaine part is 1,000,000,000% true.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go fact.
No, Darren nailed it. The color, it was never green. It did have cocaine.
I got one.
But it was never green.
Read the fine lines. Jeez, oh Pete.
The bottles were tinted green. Everybody knows there's cocaine in it, and I knew you were going to jump on it. Humans, 98.8% of their DNA from chimpanzees.
percentages are always suck because you can change one little small decimal point and it's no longer true.
I will tell you that's not what this is about. It's just yes or no DNA from chimpanzees.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fact.
I'm going to say crap just to be opposite.
Yeah. Why we monkey around.
Wow.
Yeah. I could just leave it there. It was a good one. All right. Your stomachs get a new lining every 3 to 4 days to protect itself from digesting itself from its own acid. True or false? Fact or crap?
I think it's going to be true because my stomach builds itself after the volume of alcohol I drink.
Donnie, you've already got stomach issues.
I'm going to say fact.
That sounds weird to me. I'm going crap.
This one is true.
Nice.
Yeah.
And don't like cows have like 9 stomachs or some shit?
You know what? That's a fact I didn't look up, Donnie, but I'll write that down for the future.
Thank you.
I'll check that out. Shaving hair makes it grow back thicker and darker. True or false?
So I shared with a guy in the Marine Corps that was mostly Indian and never had any facial hair, but they forced him to shave. And because they forced him to shave, he was actually able to grow a beard. It wasn't like nobody in his family has beards or anything. So I'm going to say fact.
Yeah, I'm going fact on that.
Me too.
I need to start shaving my freaking bald spot back here.
So this one's actually crap.
I swear. Nah, I swear that dude, he'd have never been able to grow freaking chin hair like he did if it wasn't for shaving. I think they're wrong.
My question is, how old were y'all around that time?
Oh, he was 20 years on me, so I was 18. That put him at almost 40.
Damn. I was going to chalk it up to puberty, but I guess I can't do it anymore. All right, one more. I'll give you one more. Bulls get angry when they see the color red.
That's not true.
Yeah. That's crap.
Fuck. I'm the only one that falls for that one.
The other one that's wrong is the phrase "bull in a china shop." Mythbusters did that. They set up a bunch of china on these shelves in a room, released a bull. The bull did everything to avoid the plates and saucers and all the china. It's total BS. It was funny to watch because you were expecting a bull just like smash through everything, and it literally just avoided all the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just as such a big beast, you'd expect it to tip something.
Yeah. No, it missed everything.
Mythbusters tested everything on the planet.
Oh, dude, they were great. There was one myth bust that they did that even I called bullshit on how they busted it. It was, can you outrun a police radar? And the car they tested with was like a sedan 4-door thing. And they're like, nope, can't do it. And as soon as I saw it, I'm like, yeah, you ain't going fast enough. And like the internet went after them. They had to come back and do it. They brought out like an F1 Formula car. Yeah, that thing outran the freaking radar, like was not even there.
Yeah.
You know, so they weren't perfect in all their stuff. I love the one thing that called out on.
I remember my favorite episode that just like stuck with me is if you're ever in an elevator starts crashing down. If you jump right before it hits, do you save yourself? And I remember laughing so hard at how they did it because they just had the dummy with all of the meters and stuff attached to it sitting on a chair. And whenever it gets so close to the bottom, the chair would launch itself upwards to simulate jumping. They didn't scale it down, so they launched itself upwards and it smacked the roof of the elevator car and then hit the floor. They got 2 readings of impact, and I was like, yeah, that doesn't look like it helped.
That didn't work.
To scale it back, it still didn't save the guy. He would have died either way. But I just thought it was hilarious.
My most fascinating one was if you shower during a lightning storm, you could absolutely get struck by lightning. That was crazy. Yeah, you're not supposed to shower during a lightning storm. And so they had like one of those Tesla machines that throws the lightning out and showed that you were they said it's highly probable. They didn't say it was completely fact, but yeah, lightning was drawn to the water, which was absolutely crazy to me. So we don't take showers during thunderstorms.
Okay, noted. I didn't know that one, but I'm on board now.
So it's a good way to give you and yourself a new hairdo. So,
no shit. Okay.
All right, roll that footage.
This is Darren Crosby, owner of Crosby Business Consultants, establishing corporate credit via your EIN without personal guarantees. Crosby Consultants aim to help businesses double revenue and triple profits through strategic KPI focus, expert guidance, and innovative credit building strategies. And today, Darren gets the hot seat with the Success Champions team.
Darren, damn glad to have you, dude. It's been
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's been fun to get to know you. You've been freaking opening a shit ton of doors for us, man. I appreciate all the introductions to people and how hard you're getting after it, trying to grow all this out. So tell us a little bit about you and how can we help you today?
Yeah. So I've been an entrepreneur for the better part of 20 years. I got my professional journey started in the mortgage business. I was an originator, producing branch manager, and then in 2007, which was great timing to launch out and start your own mortgage company, I did. The company I was working for in Atlanta was a huge company, and they went bust 30 days after I left. And started my own company. Had 5 people walk out the door with me, grew it to about 35 loan officers and 15, 20 support staff. Got burned out on the mortgage industry. If I had to talk to another real estate agent, I was going to chew on the wrong end of a shotgun. And managing people, and my loan officers coming to me saying, Meg didn't approve this loan. What are we going to do about it? And I look at it, I'm like, well, I agree with her because you turned in a steaming bag of shit. And there's no, what are we going to do about it? It's what you're going to do about it. Because I didn't create this problem. And along the way, I had 3 Wingstop restaurant locations, built about 4 or 5 spec homes, and then had an opportunity to buy a golf cart company. When I bought it, it did about $900,000 a year in revenue. Grew it up to about $2.5 million when we closed books on 2019, and loved it. It was a great business. I had the largest rental fleet in Metro Atlanta, about 250 golf carts. Every festival and event that happened in town, if I wasn't providing all the carts, I at least had some presence. And then on March 6th, 2020, the game of musical chairs came to an end, and there wasn't a chair for me because we were just hitting our peak spring festival season, and I had every event cancel on me for the next 3.5 months. Called all my festival folks. I'm like, when's this shit coming back? They were like, a year. It ended up being 2 years. I had a 20,000 square foot warehouse space with 15.5 in rent. And I called my landlord. He wasn't willing to work with me. And I told him, I said, look, I'm not sitting at a poker table in Vegas bluffing. Either you go with my proposal or I'll bankrupt this company, tie up your space for the rest of the year. And I don't think you have anybody breathing down your neck to rent 20,000 square feet when a half mile down the road, 500,000 square feet just went vertical and is sitting empty. And he's like, well, you do what you have to do. And so June 30th of 2020, the company had to file personal bankruptcy because I was personal guarantor on a bunch of stuff. And overnight, my credit score went from an 800 to a 525. And got back in the mortgage business for a little bit, doing some recruiting and franchise sales, and then stumbled across a company called TJ Corporate Consultants, who I work under the umbrella of, on LinkedIn, talking about building corporate credit. And I had no idea that it existed. And the first comment out of my mouth with Earl Adams, one of the founders, was, if I knew about this in 2013, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because my golf cart company would still be in business, because I could have had a $2 million line of credit that when my landlord wasn't willing to work with me, I could have just told all my guys, hey, go home, drive Uber, DoorDash, whatever, and I'll call you when this stuff comes back. And I could play golf 5 days a week. And so it really kind of hit home to me. And yeah, so that's our core product. And we've got a variety of funding mechanisms, have a kick-ass profit acceleration software. And most of all, you know, I was at a networking event last week talking to somebody, and I told them, I said, look, I buy from Amazon just like everybody else. I have a question, I go to Google. My watch, my phone, my computer, all Apple products. Those companies aren't going out of business. The small, medium-sized businesses are the heartbeat of the American economy. And the unfortunate reality is there's plenty of business owners out there that have an awesome product or an awesome service, but have no clue how to run a business. And they end up going out of business. And so I just try to bring my successes and my failures to the table to make sure business owners stay in business for as long as possible and are as sustainable, profitable, and successful as possible. So that's kind of my quick.
Right on. What's the biggest thing we can do to help you today? What helps you move the needle on your business?
So the biggest challenge I have is, and probably a lot of people, and I know what, Donnie, what your answer to this is going to be, but how do you re-engage folks that have gone cold on you? You've had 1, 2, 3 conversations with them. They seemed like they were hot to trot, ready to go. And then all of a sudden it's just crickets. And would love to hear y'all's perspective on how to re-engage cold folks.
So to answer that question, I have a couple of questions for you. First, do we know if they were actually qualified in the first place?
The majority of the time, yes.
Because I found over the years, one of the biggest reasons people get ghosted is they can't afford your services and they don't want you to hurt your feelings about it. Or 2, you came across like a damn salesperson at some point and turned them off. Right? The 2 biggest reasons people, end up ghosting you. Sorry, there's a third. They just don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want it. They don't believe in it. They don't think about it. And they think that by not answering you is actually an easier letdown than being an adult about it and saying, no, I don't want this. And then the last one, the reason people do it is because they've tried to tell somebody no in the past, and people have spent so much time and energy overcoming objections. Mm-hmm. They just don't want the headache and hassle of trying to be resold into something they've made up their mind about they didn't want. So I'll go back to, are they qualified?
I definitely, when I got started doing this, I was fishing in the wrong pond, and I was focusing on companies that were doing $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 a year in revenue, because I felt like that provided the most value to them, but realized, to your point, that they couldn't afford what I'm doing, because they're waking up on a Monday going, I really hope a couple of customers pay me by Wednesday so I can make payroll on Friday.
Yep.
And I can relate. I've been there. So I shifted gears and started focusing on companies doing more than $1 million in revenue and knowing that they can afford it. And, but still occasionally have somebody that thought they were ready to roll and they go quiet.
anytime somebody goes quiet on me, the first thing I think of through is, where did I fuck up?
Mhm.
What did I say wrong? What did I interact wrong? When did I become a sales guy? What did I do to make it so they didn't feel like they could come back and tell me no?
Or Donnie, what did you miss?
Yeah, great one. Right. And I think most times, if we sit and think through the sales call, this is why I'm a huge fan of recording sales calls. So you can hear what you're saying and how you're saying. And, back in the day, I could just go back and listen to them. Now today, you can go take that recording to ChatGPT and go, all right, what did I miss?
Fuck up?
But I don't know any particular time that I've been ghosted that I haven't been able to come back and pinpoint the reason I think they ghosted me. And it usually comes down to, I didn't do enough fact finding at some point to understand where they were on a buyer's journey for what I was selling. So, but there's a ton of ways to get them back on the horn. I'll kick it over to the guys. What do you guys do when you get ghosted? How many of you just say, fuck it, move on?
Donnie, you said one recently that stuck with me, and you said send an email, and it was in the subject line was, "Were you eaten by an alligator?"
Yeah,
my favorite one.
It's something to get them back in. Just like, hey, are you alive still? And then
I did that in a DM the other day. It worked.
Yeah,
He responded.
It worked.
Humor always goes a long way. But like, I also think, and this is just my own personal approach, right? And I preach, you got to be who you are, and just be show up exactly how you would show up if you were talking to them. But I'm just super direct about things and super straightforward. And because I am a woman, people worry about hurting my feelings more often than other people. And so I have to put out there, you're not hurting my feelings if you say no. We just need to talk about what's just putting out there for them. You're not hurting my feelings. Let's talk about why we're not doing business yet. Like, what's going on, what did I miss that we're not doing business for? I think there's absolutely no reason not to be direct with them about it. If you had rapport before, to be like, hey, where did I miss the boat here? Like, what did I miss? I thought we were rocking and rolling here, and then now all of a sudden you're gone. Like, what's going on? I used to send, so y'all know I worked with car dealers and I texted a lot. I used to send this Bitmoji of me peeking through the blinds of it was just a cartoon. But when they would not talk to me, when they would not respond, when I had a contract ready and a campaign ready to go that had to go to press at a certain time and nobody's responding, I would do pattern interrupts like that. Send them a text that was like a weird picture of me being creepy and be like, there. What are we doing here? Like, what are we waiting on? So I don't know. I know that your process maybe doesn't have deadlines the way print campaigns have deadlines, but that always gives you the opportunity to be like, hey, rates are going to change or something like that. You know what I mean? To make sure you're re-engaging. I don't know if rates are the thing that we were talking about, but just wanted to make sure that you know what's going on.
Yeah. I like that because I think the falling on the sword just works really damn well. I like getting closure too. So for me, I don't want to leave a meeting without a significant next step. And, for me to usually pull a solid next step, I want to know that it's going to, be moving forward, to get that next step. So oftentimes I'll call it over to allow them to feel comfortable enough to tell me no. Because sometimes you can tell. That they're blowing smoke. Sometimes you can feel like they're hemming and hawing and don't want to schedule a second appointment or whatever else. I'll just slide in and be like, hey, let's do this. Let's call it a no for now. And if anything ever changes, ball's in your court, you come back to me. I'm not going to chase this because that's going to make me a creepy sales guy. So we'll just say it's a no for now. And man, I tell you, more often than not, you'll see their whole body mannerism go to relief, right? Or you'll see them go, no, hold on. I really want to do this, right? And they'll come back and fight for it.
Yeah, the old takeaway.
Yeah. And it seems to work really well. Why do you think you're getting ghosted, Darren?
That's a great question. And the quick answer is I have no fucking clue because I don't feel like I come across super salesy.
I want you to try something. I want you to send an email off to the last couple of people that ghosted you. And I want you to say, hey, I'm sorry. Somewhere along the way, I screwed up and made you uncomfortable and made you feel like you couldn't tell me no. And so you didn't jump on the follow-up call with me. No sales move here. I'm really just trying to understand so I can get better in the future to have better conversations. Can you tell me where I screwed up?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, I used to do that with dealers all the time too. And sometimes they want to help you, sometimes they don't. But it's a genuine ask to say, where did I lose you? You know, I mean, like it seemed like you were interested at some point. So let me know where I lost you so that I can kind of correct that for next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to use that.
Somewhere along the way, it became okay to lie to salespeople. Like there's this unwritten law that salespeople aren't human and we can just lie to them all day long. And if you don't think that's the truth, yes, and exactly like an exit interview. If you don't think it's truth, we all lie to salespeople, and I can prove it. Walk into a furniture store, right? First words out of your mouth are, "I'm just looking."
Just looking.
Bullshit. You're in there looking for a couch or something. You don't just wander through a random furniture store unless you're just a weirdo.
I mean, yeah, right? Some people do, and they're a little weird, but yeah, most normal people aren't going to spend a Sunday just to hang out in the
right.
In the store.
Let's try out a whole bunch of beds.
So, Darren, another thing that is a really great way to reach back out to people who you've previously talked to is if there is something that you can think of that you talk to them about, that you can then find an article to send them about, or, you know, like a local event or something like that you guys had talked about, you know, because I'm sure if, as a person in sales, you take great notes about, you know, people's kids and what they do on the weekends and, you know, shit like that. So being able to reconnect with somebody in a really non-pressure way, you know, like, hey, I know Costco Sundays. Yes, please.
Alrighty.
Actually, I don't do that, Ian. I send my husband because I can't deal with the social anxiety of being in Costco on a Saturday or Sunday.
Does anybody else reroute themselves around the cell phone guys? Like there's an AT&T booth. I purposely cut through the TVs and shit just so I don't have to go anywhere near these assholes that are hawking, you know, freaking cell phones.
But Darren, you know what I'm saying? So like, just to reconnect. So you're not even asking at this point about the sale or did the sale fall through or where are we on that? You're just sending them an email to say, hey, I remembered we talked about Costco and had a funny joke about that. I saw this thing about Costco in the news, thought I would send it your way. Hope you're doing well, yada, yada. Yeah. Because that's just a touch and it's no pressure. And it's not asking them to say no or yes or for any information. It's just saying, hey, it's me. I remember you, and I remember some shit we talked about.
Yeah.
Atlas, shut the fuck up! Sorry, that's my dog barking in the background.
It works.
I think you said Ashley because it seriously sounded like
Atlas.
Ashley, shut the fuck up! Oh, yeah. That needs to become a reel.
I wish I was prepared for that. I should have put him on the big screen for it. Damn it. No, I was going to say one recently that somebody shared in my SCN group is they reached out an email and they were like, hey, right now might not be the right time, but if you ever think about it or it comes back around and it's the right time again, let me know. And they got responded to off of that email like, no, I do really want to work with you. Just I got distracted and other things popped up, but I do want to get back on this and talk about it. And I think acknowledging that pause and just saying, hey, totally understand if priorities shift. Just curious if everything comes back around. I hope you come back to me or something like that, just to put you in their heads once again and just show a human side almost, you know?
I did have a guy last week that, you know, I was checking in with him via text and I don't remember what I said to him, but he responded back. He's like, hey, I definitely want to do this. I'm just covered up right now. with work, and just please stay in touch with me. And I respected that. I was like, absolutely. But all of us are sales folks. And
did you get a follow-up date and time of when you need to reach back out to that guy?
No.
That's one thing I wish more people would do is to get a solid next step, because a couple things happen when we don't get that next step. One, you're going to be constantly going, shit, what am I supposed to follow up to him? Now we're in the dating game. Do I wait 48 hours? Do I wait a week? When do I sneeze all over myself? Shut the fuck up. Achoo. So it's just going to be a day. And friggin', so you got to get a next step, because if you don't know when you're supposed to talk next, then you beat the shit out of yourself. Or you think a deal's closed, and it comes to find out that they never move forward with something, so it fills up your pipeline, so you quit selling as much as you should be, right? Because it's all this fluffy stuff in there. So I'd send him a message that says, hey, I know you're busy, don't need a response now, but can you shoot me back a couple of dates and times in a week or two where we could sit down and go through this? Right? Just get back on his radar.
Whenever I want to call with somebody, I always try to wrap up the call by scheduling the next call.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, when's a good time to circle back and revisit this, and give me the opportunity to answer any questions you have. And usually try to do it a week out.
So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So how many accounts do you have ghosting you right now?
I probably have about 10 to 12 prospects.
You've got a sales problem then. Something's happening during the sales conversation to have that many ghosts. So I'm going to make an assumption, which probably makes me an asshole, because when you assume, right? But odds are there's either some desperation coming through in how you're presenting, you're coming across too salesy, or they just don't believe the words coming out of your mouth. There's something happening during the sales process to have that many ghosts happening. So, right.
I would guess, honestly, maybe if you could categorize some of the people that are ghosting you to see if there's a common thread at all. But the last thing that Donnie said is the part that I think most likely is your issue, is that there is education that needs to happen that they're not getting, and they are probably nodding their head and saying yes, that they get it, but it's not computing, and it's not personally connecting to what you need them to personally connect to.
Yeah, because watch this, Darren.
For it to make impact.
Of you guys here and the ones listening, how many of you have a corporate credit? Like you have a corporate line of credit for your company, and nobody on screen is going to have it. I can almost guarantee almost nobody listening and watching has it, because corporate credit is still new. I mean, it's been around for a while, but it hasn't been adopted by mainstream. Right. So you're already coming in with this kind of skepticism about what it is, which means you got to fight even harder to not come across as salesy.
Yeah.
No,
I definitely think, to Ashley's point, the education side of things, and I had one guy 2 weeks ago. He's got a big plumbing company in Boulder, Colorado, and he's like, well, we don't need it. He and his dad run the company. He's like, well, we don't need it. We already have corporate credit. I was like, no, you don't. And
what did he have versus what you were selling?
What's that?
What did he have versus what you were selling?
He had a line of credit for his business, but it was reporting on his personal credit report. And he's like, well, we already have corporate credit. And I told him, and this was actually after a conversation I had with you, Donnie. And I said, I said, well, hey, Corey, if somebody gets injured on your job site and you get $1 million lawsuit, where's that money coming from? And he's like, well, we're protected. I've got an LLC. And I was like, well, go log into your Experian account. That Wells Fargo line of credit that you have, it's reporting on your personal credit report. So
this is a ton of insights into why you're getting ghosted. You ready for this?
Okay.
You're selling to people that you need to convince to buy versus people who have a desire to buy right now. Convincing to buy is one of the hardest sales on the fucking planet. So who are people that are talking to companies that are getting ready to likely experience the pain having credit solves? So credit is there to usually be some sort of stopgap, right? To get you through something catastrophic that may happen. Okay. What are the activities these business owners are doing prior to having some sort of stopgap? Are they getting key man insurance? Are they, doing lines of credit? What is it they're actually doing that's an indicator that your stuff may be the solution versus something else they're attempting to try? So
I find a lot of them aren't doing anything.
I see it. For me, what goes through my head is, are they factoring? Like factoring would be for me, a potential big indicator. Do you know what factoring is, Darren?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, if they're looking at factoring to cover payroll. So factoring is where you're basically borrowing money off of your revenues. Your accounts receivable. So your revenues coming into the company. So you're borrowing money on future money.
Got it.
Okay. It's high risk. It's a lot higher interest rate than a traditional loan. A lot of nursing companies use a lot of factoring and the likes, and some manufacturing companies do as well. So
trucking companies are big in the factoring space.
Right. So if you think about it from that, so if they're going, factoring, what as a potential indicator, would not credit be also a choice in that moment?
Oh yeah.
So thinking through that, who are they talking to? Because most people don't know what factoring is. Who are they talking to that's mentioning factoring? Right? Because that person would be the person to slip you right into the conversation.
Yeah.
Right. So you go and you're selling to people who have an interest already or are looking for it, looking for that answer. How do we find the people that are in there having that conversation? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a lazy sales guy. And I like having half the sales process done before I even get in the room. Like, I want to be in a position where all I have to do is not fuck it up. And I find that if the right people bring up your name, you're better situated to be in a don't fuck it up situation versus a let me convince these people to buy. So I would sit down and make a list of all these other things that people are looking at that are huge indicators that they need your services, right? And then figure out who.
Doesn't it seem like, maybe I'm being dense about this, but it seems like financial planners would be a really good person for you to be connected with, because those are people that are a lot of times getting brought in when somebody's like, I want to figure out how, can I afford to start this business, or can I, that type of thing sometimes. So I feel like maybe that's a person that, and they're people that, are connected to their clients in a pretty deep way, right? So even if they're only a client personally at the beginning, they get to know those people and they know if they're wanting to start a business or if they have a business and they need this, that, or the other. So it just feels like that would be a good plug-in for you, good people to be connected to say, hey, if you have clients who are saying this, if you hear a client that says this, or if you have a client that looks like this, let me have a chat with them and I might be able to help them figure it out. And you may need even to explain to that financial planner what you're doing. You know, I mean, they may need the education too.
Yeah, financial planners are good. CPAs and bookkeepers are also good.
Business attorneys.
Yeah, business attorneys. I do a decent amount of networking, trying to get connected with CPAs and bookkeepers because they get and understand what I do really easily. And when they're talking to their client, they go, "Hey, Donnie, you really need to change how you're handling your AR or whatever the case may be." And I know this guy, Darren, that he's got a great solution for you that makes a lot more sense. So, and that, to your point, is they've already done half the selling for you.
Yeah.
So, what about putting together a workshop and pitching bookkeepers, CPAs, and everything that is geared towards, hey, let's do an educational class for your clientele, and
That's
talk
a great
about
idea.
corporate credit.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
And that's another way to re-engage people who've gone cold or ghosted you, right? It's just hey guys, you're top of mind. I think this will provide some value for you. I'd love to have you attend this event. I do that with everybody that I talk to. I'm constantly inviting to events. Keeps top of mind.
Yeah, a workshop like that too, for another like segment that seems like it would make sense for you would be like if you can find business broker associations. I feel like business broker associations would be good for you because they're trying to figure out, how to make their clients' businesses look more valuable, or make the money make sense. So if you can find association groups of that want education, because those groups need speakers, they need people to come in. You're not necessarily going to get paid for it, but if it gives you the opportunity to educate, the only thing I would caution you is when you go, if you get those opportunities, workshop opportunities like Bernie's talking about, or speaking opportunities to associations, just make sure that the education that you're doing connects to those people. You know what I mean? Like educate in their world. So however you can like make sure that what you're talking about is associating things that they would actually be doing and things in their world so that it makes sense to them. I think that's a great idea.
100%. Yeah, I would even go so far as just doing workshops for bookkeepers. Like specifically going, hey, here's a workshop on corporate credit so you can better help and serve your clientele. Like, and do that for CPAs. See if you can get a bunch of them to show up, or maybe a bunch of business attorneys, because, go back to it, it's still so new that maybe education becomes, half your sales process, because now you're educating more of the people who have your client base on corporate credit and the things they can do. Maybe that builds you an army of people that are bringing your name up in the right, conversations with their clients.
Yeah.
And that goes back to Donnie's point of having half the sales process already done for you by the time you get there.
Yep. Because they don't have to understand it in intimate detail, but they have to be dangerous enough to be able to tell somebody else about it.
Yeah.
Right? So they can tee you up. So, and guys, if you're listening and following along, half this shit can work for your business doing the same thing. Literally setting up these workshops and the likes. Absolutely, Ian. So if you guys haven't seen Ian's shoes and shit that he does, the sneakers, they're freaking rad.
Really cool.
So, and if you don't bring some freaking cool ass sneakers to Babs this year, Ian, give me hell. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you, dude. Mike's doing some cool shit too. He's got a really cool company where he's building self-sustaining farms, which are really, really, really cool.
Nice.
So, well, Darren, we covered a whole bunch of shit with you, my friend. I'm kind of curious, what's some of your takeaways? What are you going to do from here?
I love the workshop idea. I'm definitely going to do that. And I like to actually comment about just sending an email about, hey, where did I lose you or whatnot, just to help me be better. And I have done that in the past with folks. I've not done it enough or consistently enough.
Nice. Good shit. There it is. Sneak AR.
Mhm.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So, question for the room as a whole. If you guys could eliminate one step or one part of the sales process, what part would you eliminate? This answer's for anybody. What part would you eliminate?
The stress of getting inbound. If I could get more inbound, I feel like it'd be a lot easier.
I think everybody would say that.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like that's the
I was going
obvious.
to say along those lines. I was going to say prospecting.
Prospecting.
See, I find that part to not be as difficult for me. I think I would, if I don't have to actually ask for the sale, I'd like for them to just say, "Yeah, I want your shit."
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at, Bernie. Yeah, just show up with like wads of cash.
Right.
You know.
Have a signed check, hand it over, and let's move on.
Oh my God, you guys!
What
I
about
was
you,
going
Ashley?
to say eliminate the close also, because if I've done my job up to that point, then you're already closed by the time we get there.
Nice. How do you guys open up your sales conversations? Like your first time you sit across from somebody, how do you start that doesn't make you sound like a damn robot?
I ask them about them and their business.
Yeah.
I say, tell me about your business. What made you get into it?
Yeah, I like finding the journey.
Where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years?
I mean, mine's related to events, so I'm asking them more details, getting to understand the event more. I'm like, so what's the plan? Do we have any kind of plan? Is it just an idea? Like, where are we in this thing already before I get there?
Yeah, especially if it's for events. I like to ask them, what is the purpose of the event? What are you hoping to achieve by doing that? Right? And what's your plan for getting there? And that usually starts to open up. Well, you know, yeah, you can dive that a bit more.
Yeah, a lot of those sounds.
What about you, Ash?
I ask a lot of often about like what they've been doing, because I just need to hear whatever we've been doing. If you're coming to me, then it's probably because maybe it's not working all the way, and so we need to vet all that stuff out before we figure out what to do next. And that just gets them talking too, you know, right? Like when people want to talk about themselves anyway, and so once you open up that, like, tell me what you've been doing, and you can even, you know, tell me what you've been doing that's been working, tell me what you've been doing that's not been working, however you want to go with it to get the conversation started, then they'll just start telling you all the things.
100%. One of my favorite questions I like to use is, why are we here? Why are we having this conversation? It's a great way to start, you know, getting that conversation going so it's not so much of a threat. People will tell you most times everything you need to know if we will shut up and get out of the damn way. Right?
Yeah.
But nervous energy takes over and kicks our ass. So, all right, let's talk about upcoming events. What do you have coming down the pipe, Bernie?
I've got on Thursday, let's talk about suicide, because we need to. 1 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, it's my 90-minute event, free event, just to get people more familiar with having conversations in and around mental health and suicide prevention.
That's
Love
awesome.
that.
Glad you're doing that.
Yeah.
So, tough conversation, but it's got to be had.
Yeah.
Ashley, got any events coming up?
I am doing a lunch and learn today live for some like baby salespeople, so that's exciting.
Nice. Wait, define baby salespeople.
There's a group in town called Revelry that is brand new. They just started, and they're a BDR coaching service, basically. So like, you're a startup, you hire some BDRs who are either interning, so they're still going to be seniors in college, or they've just graduated and they're starting their sales career. And it's
Nice.
it's kind of like a bullpen of like 6 different startups, BDRs, but so that they have a team and can be together. And so I'm going to do a social selling workshop.
Very cool. That's fun. That's fun. Nice. Peyton, you got anything coming up?
Gonna do my own monthly webinars. Next one starting up on the 1st, so it's coming up, but it'll be next week.
Nice.
It'll also be a day that I'm finishing up traveling, so it might just have to be a motorhome vlog. We'll see what happens.
Nice. Darren, you have any events coming up?
Yeah, I've got tomorrow morning. I've actually got a presentation with the the guy that started Contractors, Closers, and Connections.
Yep.
And you kind of answer to your point about the business broker associations. He runs, it's a kick-ass group, and he's got about 16 or 17 chapters. And each chapter has a couple hundred members. They focus on.
There's a huge one here in DFW. Okay.
Yeah, and the one here in Atlanta is huge as well. And they put on awesome events, and it's all focused on the commercial real estate space and looking at getting in with them so he can help promote what I do. And then with that same group, there's a cool ass event on Thursday. It's a networking event called Cars and Capital at one of the local Porsche dealerships. And they're going to have all these super high-end sports cars there. And looking forward to that. So
That's fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. If you guys are in the commercial construction, Triple C, it's a great organization. The one here, they'll put 200 people in a restaurant in Grapevine, and it's all commercial construction, commercial real estate. It's a really solid. Brad runs the one here, so really good guy. So for us, Badass Business Summit, it's coming September 17th through the 19th. Ticket sales go up July 11th. So they're going up $150, on July 11th. Some cool announcements start tomorrow. Get ready for those as we really ramp up and get into the season. We are over halfway sold out on this thing. So we're really excited how fast this is getting ready to start moving. So lots of marketing, lots of fun coming down the pipes. So keep getting after it. And as always, guys, we start every Monday off 8 a.m. Central Time, bringing people in, putting in the hot seat. In July, we are covering sales and sales galore. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a change up and talking about all things sales, bringing in guests to help us out with it. So it'll be a really, really good time. So you guys go have an amazing, awesome, wonderful week. Everybody except for Bernie. Otherwise, love you, mean it. See you. Bye.
thanks for having me.
Absolutely.